Week 2 is officially here, and we're going to break down our previews and predictions. I'm Nathan Johnston, here alongside my co-host, Brad Hopkins. It's time to break the huddle. Brad, good to be back again with you for another week of college football. And we've got some good games. Let's waste no time. Starting off with a 12 o'clock kickoff on PN. One of the first times that we're getting to see transfer quarterback Darien Mensa for the Duke Blue Devils take on the Illinois Fighting Illini, with Altmyer coming back for, I believe, year 3, for the Illini. It seems like he's been there for a while, Brad. Curious to get your initial takes on this game. Like I said, 12 o'clock kickoff on PN in Durham, North Carolina, Wallace Wade Stadium. Illinois currently favored in this one by 2.5 points. Brad, when you look at this game, what's your initial take on these two teams?
I think what stands out to me just, right off the jump is this is going to be a good quarterback matchup. Luke Altmyer, you mentioned him in your initial comments that he's a veteran. He's been around this Illinois program a while. He's been in college football, so just a very consistent guy, not a guy that's necessarily thought of and talked about among the elite quarterbacks in the nation. But Nate, I think we really, really like him a lot. He has got just good intangibles. He's got a good arm. He can move around the pocket and make things happen. So just a very solid quarterback. And you mentioned Darien Mensa, of course, a huge NIL deal coming over from Tulane. And Nate, I'm interested to see what he does now, his second game for the Blue Devils. It's a big one. Illinois is one of the, I would say, quote unquote, favorites in the Big Ten, and maybe not to reach the Big Ten championship, but to make a playoff appearance. So I think the quarterback battle really stands out to me in this game.
No, sorry about that. I think I agree with the quarterback matchup. One of the biggest things that stands out to me, Illinois loses their best running back, Josh McCray. Thank you, Brad. And in steps Aiden Laffery, junior, 5'11", 200 pounds, pretty highly ranked guy. I'm curious to see what he's able to do in this game, because I think when you look at the Illini offense, the wide receiver core is not the best that it's been. And so I think you're going to have to rely on guys like Aiden Laffery. And another guy I want to mention too is Hank Biotti, senior wide receiver. He's a slot guy. He's a speedster. Pretty highly rated guy as well, playing in that offense. But when I look at that initial take for the Illini offense, those are the two guys that stick out to me. Obviously, Altmeyer, very dual threat, versatile guy. You really like his ability to do and what he can do and play action. You like his ability to run, his ability to pass. Is he the greatest passer? No, not necessarily, but he's a playmaker and he can make things happen. And then when you look at the other side of the ball, like you mentioned, our first look at Darien Mensa, to me, he's the better quarterback in this matchup. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with that, but listen, when I look at what he's capable of doing, you got to believe he's the guy. And when you look at his receiver core around him, it's better than the wide receiver core at Illinois. I mean, you look at a guy like Barkay, you look at a guy like Brown in the slot, Haggins on the outside, Hazley at tight end. He's got the weapons around him, and then Moore at running back, not necessarily the best running back, redshirt senior, I hope I pronounced this right, Jaquiz Moore, 5'10", 205. But Brad, I mean, they got more weapons on the outside for Duke, and I think Duke, to me, even though Illinois is favored in this game on the road, it's probably because of Altmeyer and his experience in college football and how highly ranked the Illini are. Let's talk about the defensive side of the ball real quick, Brad. When you look at these two defenses, right, all the eyes are going to be on the quarterbacks and how they're going to play against these defenses. Who do you think has the edge in this one?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, I'm really impressed by a couple of guys for Illinois. The guy that stands out to me, and this is a guy that had a couple of sacks in last week's opener, Nate, but Gabe Jacobs, excuse me, but great size, listed at 6'3", about 270. A guy that in 2024 had 8 sacks and then 2 in the opener last week. So he is hit the ground going. And I think he's going to be a big part. And Nate, we've seen at Tulane, Darien Mensa is definitely a threat with his legs, and I think collapsing the pocket, keeping him in the pocket is obviously going to be key. Another guy that also stands out to me. Defensive lineman, and Nate, I love the name here, Gentle Hunt, and he's not the biggest guy, listed about 5'11", 6 foot, but 305. So just kind of a sawed-off bowling ball there, right, in that Illinois front. These two guys are going to be critical. I think if you've not watched Duke, Duke, is going to throw the ball. They're going to take shots downfield. Their offensive coordinator came from SMU, so he's been in that Rhett Lashley offense. So they're definitely going to run the ball. They're going to look to establish the run. But with Darien Mensa, I think these Illinois front seven guys, they have a tall task of keeping him in the pocket, collapsing the pocket, and forcing quick decisions out of him.
Yeah, and you mentioned the defensive end or outside linebacker and Jacobs. He's going to have to go against a very experienced right tackle in Brian Parker the second, redshirt junior, 6'5", 305. That's working in Mensa's favor, in my opinion. They've got the better offensive line, right? They've got a few guys on that O-line. Left tackle is a concern for me, and I'm curious if they kind of move Jacobs around from the right from the left to the right to get that favorable matchup against Fina. Not necessarily a highly rated guy on the offensive line for Duke. Big kid, 6'5", 305 pounds as well, and Bruno Fina, but he just hasn't really, he's a graduate, but he just hasn't really made that step forward. So I'm curious to see how that matchup lines up in favor of the Duke Blue Devils against the defensive front of Illinois. And then we look at the other side of the ball with Duke's defensive line. I mean, they've got some talent up there. Is it the most explosive? Maybe not. But I think when you compare their defensive line versus Illinois' offensive line, it's pretty favorable. You look at a guy like Vincent Anthony Jr., 6'6", 260. I mean, he's a big edge rusher, big guy that I think is going to make some plays in this game. You're going to hear his name called a lot. And then you got a guy in Wesley Williams, another end on the other side of the ball, 6'3", 265. So two guys up front that can really make a difference to make a push against that offensive line. So then, Brad, we look at the overall scouting report of these two teams. Who do you have coming out on top in this C versus Big Ten matchup on Saturday?
I think it's going to be a very competitive game. I think it's going to be a good game. And Nate, we're always told in college football that you see the biggest jump from week 1 to week 2 as far as teams improving. I like this Illinois team. I really do. I don't think they're going to make the Big Ten championship, but I think they're going to be a contender. I'm going to take them. Duke is definitely a program on the rise. Manny Diaz has done a great job. I just think Illinois has got just a little bit more. I think they just got a little bit more juice right now. I think they just have a little bit more in the tank. I still think you're seeing Darien Mensa still trying to gel with his offense, gel with his pass catchers, and I think Illinois ultimately takes this one. I think it's close. I think Illinois ends up coming out on top, though.
Yeah, it's going to be definitely a matchup of the quarterbacks, Luke Altmyer versus Darien Mensa by far. Obviously, maybe Mensa has the better offensive line, maybe has the better weapons on the outside, but Illinois, they've got something to prove this year. When you look at head coach Brent Bielema versus Manny Diaz, I mean, two very experienced coaches in college football. They both know what they're doing. I got to agree with you, Brad. I think Brent Bielema just has the edge in this game. Look, Luke Altmyer is going to give his best. I think, like you said, week 2, we're going to start to see the jump of some of these teams. And listen, if Illinois comes out and loses this game, it's not going to be good for them moving forward in their schedule. But yeah, give me the Fighting Illini in this one. I agree with you. I think it's going to be close in the beginning. I mean, we look at the spread. It's minus 3. It's moved to -3. Illinois over under 49.5. So they see it being pretty defensive. But I think Illinois edges out in this one by a touchdown and a field goal. I think they win by 10. I'm not going to give a final score prediction, but yeah, give me the Fighting Illini in the fourth quarter to stretch out in this win. Illinois fans, Duke fans, let us know down in the comments who you think comes out on top in this Big Ten versus AC matchup. Will it be Luke Altmyer or Darien Mensa that gets the headline when this game is over? Be sure to subscribe down below, like this video, turn on the bell notifications so you can stay up to date when we post our latest content. What's up, Break the Huddle fans? Be sure to tune in this Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, for our Break the Huddle After Dark episode. You see the helmets in front of me. The Louisville Cardinals take on the James Madison Dukes, and we'll be here to break it all down for you live at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. We'll see you then. It's time to Break the Huddle.